Yes.
I do like that.
Yeah.
Want to fascial me up a little bit?
Well, that's not what it's for today.
Oh.
See the little protuberance
Do I
there?
have to bend over?
You very well may. Yes, no, it's a fascial tool.
Okay.
We disinfect it.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's great.
Saves my thumb.
I like it. How's it going?
Good, man.
You look good.
Yeah.
It's a nice Henley.
At least I look good from the top up.
Yeah.
I had a hedge trimmer incident yesterday.
You got fancy with it. You were dipping and diving.
I was actually trying to go ground level around some brick.
Yeah.
It kicked back and got me in the knee.
Do you ever I remember when I've used one of those, and I did this at my mom's house too. She has one of those extended chainsaws where the chainsaw is kind of small.
Dude.
Electric.
Yeah.
And I was cutting these branches way up there, probably 20-foot long extension.
Yeah.
But just sometimes I feel it. I feel the need to start looking like Highlander, and I start swinging the thing around.
Do casting and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets a little squirrely and it's too heavy and I can't hold it, and I hit a car or something.
Bill.
What?
Didn't tell her yet.
It opened up my kneecap, the skin over my kneecap pretty good, so I can't.
Like a laceration.
Yeah, I can't roll for a week till it closes.
Heal it up. What kind of professional training did you put on that? Did you do stitches or?
No, my spouse looked at it and she said, "Nope, we just super glued it." You cleaned it out real well, glued it, and then put a lot of topical antibiotics and put Tegaderm over it, which is this really kind of cool covering to kind of seal it, to protect it. Because I'll come in this week and
still
go to training and maybe show some technique and help some folks out, but I'm not going to do any rolling.
What's a proper protocol if you're in the gym? Mm-hmm. And I know you weren't for this, but because I actually got a little beauty mark myself.
Yeah, what happened to your eye? Is that your eye?
That is.
What'd you do there, dude? I just noticed that.
Shout out to, actually, he just subscribed to us. Carson. He's a different, would not Carson at our gym.
Oh, no? Oh, okay.
This is a different fella that I met over the weekend at an open mat.
Why are you getting in fights?
He assaulted me.
Okay.
So he's a YouTuber that does Jiu-Jitsu videos and stuff like that.
Okay, cool.
I guess he just moved up here, and we rolled together and they filmed it and stuff like that. And at pretty much the very end of the round, he actually took my back, and I got out of that back control by bleeding everywhere.
That's a good. Actually, that's a very good technique.
Look, can you see? There's a little
laceration. I can see it. Yeah, now I can see it
on the eyelid.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a knee or an elbow, but
you got cut
bottom north south, and he was kind of coming in.
Yep.
And I think maybe an elbow. I don't know. The interesting thing is I didn't even notice it, and then the camera person, I think, or maybe he
was like, "Hey,"
was like, "You're bleeding." And because you're sweaty, so you don't. It was no-gi, and I touch it, and it's my face has a lot of blood. There's a lot of blood on the mats.
Bet it looked good though.
That's why I think he might use it. So I found out he's got a ton of followers. I didn't even know this guy.
Nice.
He's got 8,000 followers or subscribers, and so he might use it. We did some thumbnail stuff. So shout out to Carson, that guy. He was really nice too. So
very cool. Yeah. And, but that is a good way, especially if you're losing, you can just cut yourself.
Exactly. He put me in a body triangle. And then I just took I have a fingernail that I always keep sharp.
Sliced yourself.
Sliced
it.
it.
Like, oh, bro.
And then he's like, "Oh, dude, you're bleeding." I was like, "Oh, I guess we got to stop."
And then you could coach him through the rest of it. That's the classic move, right? The black belt move.
Pin my arm.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, it's already pinned. Okay. No, so start to. You want to get under the. You want to get under the jaw.
As you're getting freaking.
Yeah, that's good. Go ahead.
That's the classic BS escape. Yeah, we'll coach you through what you're already doing to me.
I'm super good at it. So that was cool. Turned into a cool shiner though, right?
It looks good.
Yeah. A little smoky.
Add a little character.
Mm-hmm. We have a couple questions that came in.
You were going to ask something. You're like, what do you do?
Oh, about if you get a cut in the gym, what's the proper protocol to? Because you said you cleaned it real well.
Yeah.
What should a gym have? What should we do? You use super glue. Everyone knows about that. But
okay, I can't give that. That's kind of that's beyond the level of first aid typically. Okay. Since I'm a physician and my wife is, we could make a call that, hey, does that need sutures or not? Right. And if you are in doubt, it probably does. You know what I mean?
Got it.
If you have to hold the skin together. Right. But anyway,
because this was more like a slip.
Nah, it's a little lacerate. It's not as bad. No, you wouldn't.
But my forehead was
right.
Liv, can you see that scar?
I can still see it. Yeah, you can still see the thing. Yeah, it was a good one. So, regardless of what you have to do, whether you need sutures or whether you could do the like the super glue, the Dermabond, or whatever you want to call it, that's kind of a decision really someone with some training should actually make as far as medical training. But as far as immediately just to prevent infection, because that's the big thing, right? Yeah. You've opened up the skin. You want to, you want to clean it pretty well. And
how would you clean it?
Well, if you have you want to make sure there's no debris in there. Probably not going to be on the mat. It's like for me, I had a hedger, so there's probably pieces of crud in there. So I actually got the shower head and just kind of rinse the whole thing, just kind of flush it. Yeah. But if you don't see any obvious debris in there, I clean around it, and at least for the meantime, I have a little it's always nice to have some triple antibiotic salve, not the cream. Just to kind of after you kind of wash it out, to kind of just pack it in there for a bit until you figure out what you're actually going to have to do.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but depending on whether something needs sutures or not is not so straightforward.
Got it.
It depends on where it is, the depth, the size of it, spread. There's a lot of things that come into play determining that, because if you don't put sutures in something that probably needed it, it has to heal from the inside out. It's called healing by second intention. That's what it's called. And it can form, especially if you're prone to form scars, it can form a real pretty nasty.
Which then it can split
easier because it's not the same. Yeah, it's not as elastic anymore. So when in doubt, always get checked out to see, because you can throw a couple sutures in, 7 to 10 days, you're good.
Mainly, I'm just wondering, best way to clean.
Yeah,
like we have alcohol wipes at our gym.
Yeah, don't put alcohol in the wound. That's a little rough.
I sprayed that. What's that stuff that fizzes when you're a kid?
Hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
So
I was spraying that on my eyeball.
Awesome. I'm glad I wasn't there to cringe. Just rinsing it with water is fine.
Oh,
okay, just to get all the debris off. But then back and forth about hydrogen peroxide is certainly an antiseptic, right? But it can also kind of damage tissue a little bit if you do it too much.
So Cindy gave me a little spray bottle of it, and she didn't tell me to close my eye.
Oh.
So I just held it up and then went,
No, you didn't.
You basically, got
maced.
Got maced, yeah. The biggest thing is to make sure there's nothing in the wound.
Got it.
Irrigate it, rinse it, and then just put some type of little antibiotic salve around it for now until you figure out do you actually need to go and get it.
I just went to another open mat later that day.
So I file you under do as we say, not as we do, typically. Okay. When it comes to you and training injured or I know. You have that mouth breathing thing going on. Hey, bro, do you think I'm overtraining? Yeah. Yes. If you ask me that, it doesn't matter the circumstances. I'm just going to say
yes. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.
Anyway.
That's good.
So you had some follow-ups, you said?
Yeah, we have follow-up with our boy CJ. He's the one that was dealing with some sleep issues, 5 hours.
I totally remember. We thought it might be a cortisol thing, perhaps.
He started cold plunging.
I remember.
Daily basis, if I remember right.
And I think we talk about ashwagandha or something like that?
Yeah, and maybe even tapering back on some stuff because it is a stressor.
Totally.
And stuff like that. So I'm just going to read his email that he sent in because it's a little bit of an update.
Cool.
And there's actually a question on the end. And let's see, really appreciate the thoughtful conversation on the podcast. He re-listened to the Stress Cup episode, which we definitely recommend if people are having sleep issues.
I don't know. What episode is that, Liv? Do you know?
I think it was 4.
Yeah, it was an early one.
Super early one. He said the waking up after 5 hours thing hasn't been an issue since our podcast where we talked about it. Like when we addressed
So
some of
just
the
we
stuff.
talked about it and there we're good?
Yeah. It's called good juju. No, I think he
Demons out.
He started implementing some of the stuff. He said, my wife and I both coincidentally dialed back the cold showers about the same time. I always do them in the morning after a hard training day. And my 3-minute timer is Can I Play with Madness by Iron Maiden.
Ooh, I like that, by the way.
And he sings it, Can I Play with Magnets? Is that part of the song? I don't know. Can I Play with Magnets?
I like the whole, let's keep it interesting. Let's change the lyrics a little bit.
Okay.
If you like playing with magnets, since Iron Maiden's one of my favorites anyway, back in the day.
Oh, Can I Play with Madness? Can I Play with Magnets? Maybe it just auto-corrected. I don't think it did because he said he loves it.
If you want to play with magnets, it's awesome.
I also guessed his age. He's 38.
Yeah.
Because we weren't sure how old he was.
Okay.
But he says, but I noticed. Oh, so here's where the question comes in. He says, I'm now 38, but I noticed when I was in my late teens, I could never close a good grip in the morning when I would wake up. And since then, it's always been like that. Is this a sign of never really recovering and always having an overflowing stress cup party on Wayne?
It can be, but again, we don't know if there's a baseline really, because it sounds like that was just as far as he can remember.
Yeah.
So if he was always training super hard, especially training at night, I don't know the background.
Yeah, he's talking about
the whole idea of the grip thing is to, when you're feeling super good, to get a baseline. Some people have like myself in the morning. I am not a morning exerciser. I don't feel like I can get my nervous system going. So there's some people are wired a little
You're
differently.
talking about like that 7 a.m., 8 a.m. person that works
Yeah. I just don't feel like I can get my, left to my own devices. Like on Sundays when Carrie and I work out, it's usually around 3 or 4. And I feel like I get my best workouts around there.
Yeah.
But anyway, everyone's different. And I'm the same way. In the morning, I'm like, I just feel a little, just not as strong as I do later. But the whole idea of the grip thing, though, is to get a baseline when you're actually feeling pretty good. You haven't trained, and then see if you fall off your baseline.
Would it make sense to do that if you do that grip test on a day you're feeling good? Like maybe in the mornings you still, no matter what, feel that, like what he's saying. But at 3 o'clock you do feel good.
Yeah.
Get a baseline at 3.
Yeah.
And then you can test it in the morning.
And then you can be like, then you can see. No, you wouldn't want to test it in the morning. Though.
Okay.
So
you want to stay consistent.
Yeah, you want to stay consistent. Okay. But if you just wanted to answer that question, hey, am I one of those people with my nervous system just isn't firing well in the morning? You could do that little experiment too, and just do on the same day, no exercise. Let's just do a grip test in the morning, and let's do it in the afternoon. If you're significantly strong, it might be a little biorhythm thing, right?
And also on those things, grip them in the exact same fashion, because just with the little bit I've messed with them, whether I hold it out like like you're shooting a gun from the hip, let's say, or if you hold it straight out to the side, or if you hold it down by your hip, how you even have your wrist manipulated.
I always tell people to pull their arm into their ribs, 90-degree bend in the elbow, like you're shooting from the hip, and just squeeze there.
Okay.
Just do something that you can do that you know is easy to do consistently.
I think that's a big thing, because I had 10 pounds of pressure variance from holding. I think I was out like kind of like almost like I was reaching for something compared to having my arm, like you said, down at my ribs, kind of.
Which one was stronger?
That one, like where I was more connected to my body.
Of course, and that's the way the nerve system works anyway. Right? It will allow you to do things if it feels the limb is more stable.
Right.
Yeah, that's just part of how we're wired. Yeah, you could test that just to kind of see what's going on. But again, the whole purpose of that is to see if you're falling out of your baseline. Right. Just curious if you did any of those other interventions like ashwagandha or anything like that.
He did not say.
Okay, it'd just be interesting to see. It sounds like he's improved.
Yeah, Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
He definitely has.
So just thinking about things in a big context, like not in isolation, that's why I like the whole stress cup model.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll email in. We'll see if he did try any of those.
I'm just
things.
curious. He doesn't have to share if he don't want to. I just say, hey, what really worked well?
Stop.
Was it just reducing the cold exposure, or
we'll force him to say something.
I'm sure.
Don't hold back.
Yeah.
So we had a question come in on the YouTubes about the last. We talked about who's number one and all that. Interesting question. I want to hear what you think.
Okay.
Maybe you saw it already, but it's just curious. Do you believe anyone out there could beat Gordon Ryan if they were the same weight class? For example, Mika Galval versus Gordon if they were the same weight class, right? Or even Mikey Musumeci. There are interviews of Gordon saying Mikey has the hardest guard to pass of anyone he's ever rolled with.
So
a giant Mikey.
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, shout out to Mikey at 1FC.
Yeah.
Got Aoki with an Aoki lock.
Incredible.
Come on.
Incredible.
And how respectful he was afterwards.
Makes us a little mad because that's our move right now. I know. And I feel like everyone's going to start doing it, and it's going to just ruin all of our surprises.
You know what, though? Too bad.
I know.
I had a guard pass that I thought was the cat's meow that I taught, and now everyone's been doing it. So now everyone's like, nope.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes, man. No, so the answer is yes, I do think so. Especially someone like Mikey. I think Mikey could catch him, especially if we had a little bit more, there wasn't such a size discrepancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sure. I mean, no one is
uncatchable.
No one's uncatchable, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's incredibly dominant. He changes his game up.
Yeah.
Depending on who he's going after. And
that's true. He's always adapting.
He sure is.
Gordon is as well. So.
Well, no, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about
Mikey.
I'm talking about Gordon's adapts to whoever he's, has definitely not only the technique but the strategy too.
Yeah.
So everyone is catchable, man. I mean, I think. But it says they're not. That just seems preposterous to me.
Right.
Like, oh no one's ever going to be able to. I mean, if we have someone around the same size with a high skill set, especially someone like Mikey or Mika or Fabricio Andre,
right,
or someone crazy, Yeah,
I think, and I responded to them. I think someone that's athletic. The thing is, it's difficult for someone to be athletic like those, like let's say a Mika and a Fabricio Andre, at such a high weight, right? Like it can be difficult to maintain that level of athleticism. Now there are some, of course,
like Victor Hugo moves pretty darn well.
Yeah, he moves pretty well, and I would say kind of Duarte is probably up there. But other than that, Cyborg Abreu. Now I would say, the way I think of it is, that is one thing that can really help you do well against Gordon and have the ability to potentially catch him, because we think of people that have given Gordon really tough fights. Nicky Rod. Pure athleticism, basically.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Cyborg has actually given him, not the one where he got heel hooked, and Danaher walks him through it.
Yeah.
Talking about the pans where he was just clubbing him in the head and stuff. But I think you'd have to have a better skill set than Cyborg. With the athleticism of Cyborg and the size. Mix that with good leg lock defense, which I think someone like Victor has. In the kind of Duarte, right? I think he's quite athletic as well.
You know what, though? Let me just push a little back
please.
on there that we haven't seen, because it hasn't been necessary. I think people are also sleeping on Gordon's defensive game.
Which he says is like his best.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we've really seen that to its an extent either, right? It's because he's been so dominant offensively.
I'd agree.
So,
but at the same time, that's why I think an athletic flash sub is kind of the way that you would catch him.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be so sharp on the little minutia of moving his arm or twisting his shoulder or whatever have you, that it's going to take some brutal cardio and athleticism to probably catch him.
Yeah, if you're trying to play a methodical game against him, no way.
Which is like the closest we've seen, obviously, Nicky Rod with 2 different occasions where the toe hold, which he cracked his foot. And then when they started in overtime on Nicky on his back, and he had at least a mandible strangle, right? That was doing some damage there.
Yeah.
Those are the 2, and then I guess you could say Craig Jones as well in the EBI overtime with the armbar.
Well, not that necessarily on Gordon, but an example of what you're talking about is like a Heisem Rita 80cc armbar. Something super quick.
Something like that is I think. Now, it'll be interesting to see, though, as Kynan, what does he do with them? What does Marigali when they inevitably break up? Because those are athletic, but not Nicky Rod athletic, right? Not Heisem Rita athletic. But they also have that pressure game built in. That'll be the interesting one, I think.
It's interesting.
To see, like, they can change pace where, let's say Marigali, he can be pressure. He looks like Gordon with his pressure. And then he can flick a switch, which Gordon doesn't really do. Marigali does, where he is pressure, athletic. Pressure, athletic.
Right.
Gordon is just all pressure, right? That'll be an interesting one to see. And I think Kynan can do that too, if the certain Kynan shows up, because Kynan's a little hit or miss sometimes.
Well, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I think just in general, everyone is beatable. It just, it's, it won't be an easy path.
Yeah. Could you milk me?
If you have nipples, I can.
Really? Coming from a doctor.
No, just coming from Meet the Parents.
No. All right. Okay. Onward. We have an old guy question.
Well, bring it on.
Yeah, buddy. Right in your old baby maker. So we were asked when is applicable. When is it too late to start training jiu-jitsu?
Ooh.
This person is 54, I think, and just starting.
Yeah.
And they're wondering, and there's a follow-up question to this, they're wondering if it's too late. And when is too late?
So there's a lot of caveats to this.
Because I told them you were 40, mid-40, or they listened to a few.
I was 45 when I started. That's a white belt.
And they're like, well, I got a decade on them.
Understood. So first of all, pick your gym very carefully. Okay. A place like ours.
Okay.
Absolutely, we could do it. And go into it, you really have to have a mindset where, look, I'm going to go in there just to protect myself. I'm not going to try to go, try to match athleticism. It's not going to work.
In high school, so he's got the mentality.
I get it, but that's what's going to happen with that. If that mentality is coupled with a failing body, which I'm just saying, that's what happens.
Our bodies are failing.
They are. Yeah. They are. Injury. And what the biggest problem I had, and I was even younger, I was 45, is that I didn't let that mentality got the best of me a couple times, and I got hurt. Now I'm much more, just with experience now. You know, if I have someone who's going super hard, I get really defensive and then start playing like a baiting game. And you know what I mean?
Sure.
But you have to have the right mindset going in, knowing that you're going in at a big disadvantage as far as endurance, athleticism.
Did you see me have that round with the guy on Thursday? It's his second day. And he was turned it into a street fight basically.
I had a little chat with him afterwards.
And that's kind of what you're talking about is he started going hard and I obliged him. But that can be an issue if, one, I'm not as skilled or seasoned.
Oh, no way. You're doing that as a black belt.
But you do that as a white belt to another white belt.
Nah, dude.
It's like a recipe for...
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's only a matter of time before you get injured.
Which, shout out to our boy that we just talked about. I hurt his rib. His floating rib.
Was it Daniel?
Dislocated.
Why'd you do that?
So, can I tell this story?
No, I know, but I mean, why'd you hurt him?
It was on accident. He's a nice guy too. He actually came to class today.
He was in on Saturday too. He's a very nice guy.
Yeah. So I didn't realize. So we're in a hard round.
Oh yeah.
And he was there to battle, and I was like, okay, let's go.
I just heard it first before I saw it. Then I saw it.
Yeah, you heard this.
I heard the slam.
I
heard the slam. Yeah.
I did a pretty savage little judo throw, and it was aggressive.
Yeah.
So, anyways, about towards the end, I have him in knee on belly, and I'm giving him the old soul piercer, where I pull up on the lapels as the knee goes into the guts.
We call that instructional knee on belly.
Yes. And so I had just thrown him, I think, or swept him. I can't remember.
Right to knee on belly.
Right to knee on belly, and then I'm holding him like, chilling him out. And he says, "Oh, I'm gonna take that."
Meaning that he likes that technique.
No,
but that's what he meant.
No, I'm 20% retarded. We've talked about this.
Yeah. Oh, at least.
What?
That's you're selling yourself short.
22. Yeah. Okay.
Let's go over 50 and we're good.
So he says, and he's like mumbling it out, like, "Oh, I'm gonna take that." I feel like he's saying, "I am gonna take your knee on belly.
I know. Do your worst.
You're a baby."
Yeah. Do your worst.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. I know that's what you thought.
Balding loser.
Yeah.
Because he had a beautiful head of hair.
Yeah.
And so I started applying it more. And that's when it kind of felt like my knee was crunching, my kneecap.
It'd be his ribs.
It was his ribs. And we both stop, and I'm like, "Oh, you okay?" And he's like, "I think just, my ribs moving a little bit." And I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Okay." And the round ends like 20 seconds later. And he was like, "Just so you know, I meant like, I'm going to take that, like, I'm going to learn that and like absorb that skill."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I thought you were saying like, you're just going to take and eat this." And he's like, "No, I thought that's what you meant. You thought I meant because you went harder after my rib cracked."
In other words, he's like, "You're a monster."
And then he was like, "What's your name?" And I said, "Bill." And he goes, "Oh, you're the day class instructor." And I go, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm supposed to start training in the days." I was like, "Well, class is fun."
Welcome.
And he still showed up today.
You may or may not be a piece of shit, Bill.
Look out.
So. No, I thought he was a great guy. When I was, and this isn't just directed at him. He's just an example of someone comes in with a high level of strength and athleticism.
Yeah. And intensity.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't want to lose that.
Nope. But you also want to learn the martial art.
You want to hone it.
Yeah. You want to learn the technique and then use that athleticism to, like we've talked about many times, when you can, but not at the expense of learning jiu-jitsu, because it's only going to take you so far with athleticism before you get someone just as athletic, but also has some skill.
Yeah.
And so that was my advice.
Oh, okay.
To him.
Oh, to him. Okay.
To him.
So,
and in general, I think it's pretty good advice, especially coming in, like, if,
going to our older gentleman here, right? It starts to apply to him even more so.
So we're talking around it. Here's the answer. No, it's not too late to start. It's not. You have to be smart about it. You really need to embrace whatever strength training program you've had before. Seriously consider doing like FRS, functional range systems, in-range isometric type of work.
What was the doctor's name?
Andrea Spina.
Spina?
Andrea Spina.
Spina, okay.
Yeah, he's the inventor of it. Andrew and I have been to a couple of the seminars. But that stuff is great for really getting, because what he's going to find in jiu-jitsu, even more so than wrestling, is some of the angles you're generating force from with the limbs, especially the legs. It's going to be very, very foreign, and that's how I injured myself. And so since I've been training the way I've been training with my strength training, I feel like I'm stronger on the mats, and I'm my usable mobility is so much better. But that is so key for someone like him.
Yeah.
Because we lose it anyway, and you need to do a very good warm up. Don't come into class cold. But absolutely do it. But pick the right place, because you can go to a place, you know them. There's places around that are probably not the best fit for someone like that.
For sure.
And so a place that like we look out for our new folks.
Especially me.
You do not. As when I say we, I mean everyone but Bill, who puts knee on belly and cracks people's ribs that are second day. Has been known to wrist lock and foot lock people and body triangle people that are brand new too. So aside from,
I did that to him.
I'm sure you did.
After I cracked his rib.
Fantastic.
No, I'm joking. It was before.
Great. But in general, we will look out for our new folks and just to make sure they're not getting into any danger. And
actually, funny with that guy, I put him in a mounted triangle, but before I locked the triangle, he tapped, and I was like, "Oh, y'all good?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just didn't want your balls in my face."
Oh, understood. Like, I would probably.
I literally pulled the Joe Rogan, and I go, "I understand." My balls were hot.
Yeah, that's a Derek Lewis quote. No. I mean, I personally probably would tap too if you were in that position on me.
I wouldn't have got up though.
Just from a hygiene perspective,
I wouldn't have got up.
I know you wouldn't have, because you're a jerk.
You don't know where I've been, Chris.
It wouldn't have been that. It's been like I had sardines and sauerkraut before a class. Here you go, and your mounted triangle.
Break
and
wind on your chest.
My, can you imagine?
Give you a little costochondritis.
Be rough, dude.
Give him pink eye.
You'd be more in pink eye. There's some kind of crazy pestilence. You have some weird breakout.
What do you call me?
I don't know. Whatever's coming out of there is probably not going to be good for anybody. So I would have tapped too.
So
anyway, so it's not. So definitely look around do your research on on the academies. Is this someone local around here?
He started at our gym.
Oh. Well, then you're fine then.
Yeah.
As a day or night class?
He's primarily only been day. He's been a little inconsistent because he went out of town and but he's like, he wants to do it. He's just a little worried because he's having, there's already some soreness and stuff like that.
So here's an open invitation. Come to night class.
Or a Saturday morning.
Class. Come talk to me. And we can get you set up for the right stuff.
Cool.
But absolutely, please do continue, because we need more of us elderly here in the gym.
Follow-up question with that. So his biggest thing that he is obviously struggling with is sparring cardio.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Of course.
What are some things outside the gym, the jiu-jitsu gym, that he can do to help get his grappling cardio better? Okay.
It's controversial.
Uh-oh. Does that have to do with going to Thailand?
No.
What?
It does not.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to say something else, too, that fed off of that. I decided not to. My little brain got working.
This is why you're not in the Fofoka group. You got to let those babies rip.
No. This is called age and wisdom, my friend. Oh. Yeah. So really the best thing that carries over to... So let's talk about cardio and grappling, first of all.
Okay.
The biggest thing that knocks cardio... First of all, obviously, if you're just starting, it's going to be completely different. It's very much like Lance Armstrong was probably arguably the best in the world cyclist, and then was like a middle of the road running a marathon.
Yeah.
They're different. It's a different motor pattern, different energy systems. Grappling, cardio. Grappling is exhausting when you first start. Now, as white belts, one of the biggest cardio killers is over-gripping and tension and being really, really just in a flight or fight response. Okay, the adrenaline dump, that type of thing. So I'll get to what he could also do that might carry over. I just haven't found something that carries over super well. But really learning to relax, which is easier said than done as a white belt, is going to be the best thing for that grappling cardio while he develops it. Because guess what the best way to get grappling cardio is? Grappling.
Right.
It just is.
Yep.
Everything else is kind of like, I'm not saying it's not good to do zone 2 cardio to build an aerobic base. I think that can be helpful, but it's not going to be a magic bullet.
Yeah.
The biggest, when people learn to relax, right? And breathe through their nose, really get that flight or fight, reduce the body tension when it's not needed.
Understanding gripping with your hand, not your full arm.
Totally, right?
Yeah.
And which, in the breathing, I've seen people, new white belts, hold their breath.
We do it in competition too, on access.
Absolutely.
People.
Like breathe.
Yeah.
It's the flight or fight response. That is the biggest thing to do. And what I usually do if I get a new person and I'm rolling with them the first time and they're just, you can tell they're like 2 minutes in, they're about done. I'm like, hey, let's let off a little bit. I'm like, just keep some pressure on you. We're not going to do anything. I'll just lay on side control. I want you to sit here and breathe for a minute. I know this isn't not the coolest thing in the world, right? Have some dude freaking laying on you like a sandbag.
Yeah.
But that's so key is, okay, getting comfortable in that uncomfortable position and learning jiu-jitsu right the first time for him. In other words, let's not try to model the Berimbolo game and all this athletic kind of game. Let's get fundamental sharp jiu-jitsu and then learn how to really get that nervous system down. And that will help the cardio more than anything.
Okay.
But you're going to have to build up grappling cardio anyway through grappling. If you wanted to build an aerobic base, those of us in our 50s, we do have decreased mitochondrial function, which is kind of the powerhouse, the energy production parts of the cells. So that kind of what they call zone 2 cardio, which is all the rage right now, which is hilarious. It's like, oh, the color blue is amazing. It's like, yeah, it was when it first came out too. You know what I'm saying? But that is actually helpful for building an aerobic base, increasing mitochondrial, your energy production. But I would argue that it's kind of maybe just a little helpful with grappling. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think you can, it's just like if you want to be an amazing.
What about some HIIT training or something like that?
Yeah, man, not at 50-something years old, dude.
It'll take away from the grappling.
Yeah, sure will, because, again, it's the stress cup. So if you're 20, whatever. Yeah, sure.
Got it.
But you start doing a lot of HIIT training and then trying to do brand new to jiu-jitsu, you're going to overtrain in a second. So
I believe, just because the frequency, I've seen him already. I think he works at the firehouse. So he will... I don't believe he's like a different role though. Like he was a fireman. Now he's like a high up or something.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
So he doesn't, I think he's only going to be a once, maybe twice a week jiu-jitsu guy.
It's fine.
So with that schedule, still what to supplement for cardio reasons.
So then I would do kind of low level.
Yeah, because he's not doing it 3-4 times a week, which
totally.
is really.
Then I would do, but still, even 2 times a week at our age, if you're doing a lot of HIIT training and stuff like that, in addition, and oh, by the way, if you have any kind of swing shift or still doing shift work in the firehouse,
sure.
Okay, again, the allostatic load piece. I would do kind of conversational. It's long and boring, and it's just brutal. Conversational pace cardio. You can do whatever implement you want. You can get on a bike. You can get on like an assault air runner. You can do whatever, as long as you can get some sustained and really try to do it at a pace where you can continue to breathe through your nose. 30, 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yep. And so that's what I would do. But if you start doing heavy, high intensity stuff, and now you're starting jiu-jitsu, that's going to be a problem.
Okay.
Hey, Bill, doesn't this conversation sound familiar?
No.
It does, doesn't it?
Why?
You don't remember me talking about how zone cardio adds to higher levels of cardio and how you should do that, and then you and Jake were like not agreeing with me? You don't remember that in the driveway?
He's saying grappling helps your grappling cardio.
Okay. But what is he recommending for cardio?
For a 75-year-old?
Oh, my gosh. You don't think...
Stay out of this, Chris.
You're saying that the new student at our gym is 75?
I don't know how old he is. I lied.
I know, because I'm pretty sure you said his age.
Shout out to Hungry Justin YouTube page. You did his podcast?
I did.
It was a good one.
Did you listen to it?
I did actually.
Yeah.
It was good.
You hear the history of Chris?
I had a little bit. I already knew it all, but
Yeah.
I shared your section about independence, like maintaining your independence is your primary goal. That like I just used your line too. I was like, the goal is to die in your bed, but the day before be able to walk up and down the steps.
Yep.
By yourself.
The Jack LaLanne model.
Is that what his thing
Yeah,
was?
90 pull-ups at 90 years old. High level of fitness. Last 6 months, boom.
It passes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
not a 20 to 30-year-old horrific decline into frailty, you know?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a good episode. I just recorded my episode with him.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was different,
Weird
temperament.
I bet.
Yeah, I had a very good costume.
Oh, okay. I'll check it out.
Some might say it's cultural appropriation.
Well, what I will say for certain is you completely dodged Olivia's question by changing the subject.
That is true.
That's all we got today.
You're that dude that, as a teenager, talked himself out of getting arrested by cops all the time. You know, you have that.
That's true.
You have a really good, like, well, you know, let's take a step back.
Yeah, a couple times it didn't work though.
Let's deflect.
Yeah,
You ever seen Trailer Park Boys? Yeah, Ricky. Anybody listening to watch Trailer Park Boys? Bill is the Ricky.
Oh, okay.
He can talk himself out
Is that the guy with the glasses that looks funny?
No, it's Bubbles.
Oh, that you.
No.
What? You look like a Bubbles.
That could be, I guess.
Yeah, you
no,
do.
I'm not. I'm more of a Julian.
I've seen you throwing names out
well,
there.
you got to watch it, dude. Come on, there's like 13 seasons.
More of a RuPaul. With that, guys, like, subscribe. Enjoy us. We enjoy you. Check out Carson's YouTube page. We'll put in the description. He might post our roll together, and he's a local guy now. So
and Carson, thank you for injuring Bill. I got a lot of pleasure out of that one.
What's up, Liv? Just say it. What's going on?
None.
That's it, guys.
All right, anticlimactic. I love it. Let's go.